be proud about, and globally we are being benchmarked, is for UPI. So I think UPI has played out wonderfully well for us in our ecosystem and actually changed the consumer behavior as it progressed. No one ever thought that in rural areas QR codes would ever be functioning. I believe COVID and the external aspect of things worked out on in our favor as a nation, and I think we are the highest grossing and transacting nation in the world digitally. So I think that's a great kudos to us as a nation and as a citizens of this country. Apart from that, I think NPCI and RBI had played a very crucial role in BFSI sector in maintaining the sanity of the entire system. And NPCI, being a non-profitable organization, had given a lot of offerings to the banks, NBFCs, and also upcoming neobanks, so that they can openly transact and given regulatory guidelines around it. And as we speak about neobanks, I think neobanks, when it started, it was being criticized. You consumers didn't know whether it's safe or not. But it, at the end of the day, started challenging the traditional banking system. And that made us all step up, and the traditional banks started performing more user-centric perspective. And so neobanks started with just a digital engagement, right? They didn't have any retail asset, they didn't have any branches across, but still they were so popular just because of the processes they set and the applications that they were providing. I think few key examples would be FI, NeoX. I think what a beautiful looking cards they are giving to the millennials, and everyone is fond of them. And I think that's when the era of super apps actually came into play, where banks started thinking was, if they can do it, why can't we? If consumer wants it, it's a demand, let's make it happen. And I think few of the traditional banks that have done wonderfully well in this segment is SBI with the YONO product, Bank of Baroda, I believe for that matter, even ICICI Mobile has a phenomenal examples of how traditional banks can transform themselves. And I have to give it to the neobanks who came up with this ideology and disrupted the entire market. I would also like to add, a few days back, I think there was a global fintech fest in Mumbai happening, and I was so happy to see so many fintechs and ministers and great leaders from banking sectors coming in and talking about fintech industry. I mean, apart from the banks, I think fintech has given a great compliment to the banks and their processes. Like, for example, as Sir Mr. Mathur said about video KYC, right? It was such a challenging thing for banks to achieve, but happening fintech being around, these entities made our life so easier, and we progressed with it a lot. And I think we are one of those nations which are at par to other competing nations in the banking financial sector. And I think we are at par to the technology and the services that we are offering as well. Uh, as I think UPI was a transformation, but also now card tokenization and tap and pay coming into the picture. I think the next generation transaction would be voice-based transaction that I can see, because apart from that, I don't think there is anything else to make the life or transactions more easier. But of course, we need to be careful about the fraudulent activities happening around. But with the help of RBI and NPCI, we'll make sure that innovation doesn't stop. So over to you, Pichal.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts. Now, I would like to put on our second question, that would be, how new innovation in technology is reshaped your organization in particular? So, if Atul sir, you can begin with that.
Yeah, Vijay, so as I said that, it is impacting all aspects of the customer life cycle, right? Starting from prospecting to the customer life cycle, as well as all aspects of, employee life cycle. So, uh, uh, in the last, let's say 2-3 years, the kind of business that we have got, right? Uh, which is where, starting with things like, let me get into some specific examples because it's a very vast field and a lot of things have been done. And we're also working with you guys as well. So there are multiple things that we have done, right? But in terms of customer acquisition, if I look at it, for example, right? So starting with, preparing our employees in terms of how to acquire customers digitally, right? There are a lot of, interesting apps that have been developed, right? So for example, let me take the example of life insurance, for example. Yeah. If somebody has to, connect with a customer, of course, the meeting could be through Zoom or MS Teams, which, might happen. right? Now the customer need is assessed. What is it that the customer requires, right? Now, right from things like illustrations which are given to the customer, an illustration is that how would his policy or her policy move year on year, right? So if it's like, let's say 20-year plan or a whole life plan or whatever plan it might be, how would it move, right? Now everything is being done digitally, right? So I mean, it can be sent through a WhatsApp mechanism to the customer. What we're also doing at the back end is that for our salespeople in particular, right? We are actually this app which is there from where they can generate the illustration and send it across to the customer. We also have from a skilling perspective scripts and key pointers which are mentioned over there, right? We're also bringing in AI-enabled solutions now, where people can actually, for example, the salespeople can practice on their own, right? And would get evaluated by an AI system, and it would not therefore not require a physical trainer or a manager to be there with him or her to kind of make the person effective in terms of reaching out to the customer. So this is just a small example, right? And again, from a servicing point of view, whatever that the customer requirement could be. I mean, today the customer can just send a WhatsApp message across to the organization, and whatever query the person might have, will get resolved. So you don't really have to dial into an IVR and listen to the lovely lady on the other side saying that your call is important. Of course, all these things coexist, but I'm saying that from keeping the customer in the center, and what is it that the customer wants, and what is it that will bring customer delight, right? So we have, for example, bots like Zara that we have, for example, in our organization, which is a huge success, right? And has made the life of our customers much easier, much better. Right. So, and even from a retention perspective, various things, where technology is playing a key role. So, Bijal, if I look at it, the entire spectrum has got impacted by new technology. Now, what we're also, looking forward to, and it's a ever evolving field. Now, with 5G coming into the picture, right, there'll be more immersive technologies that are going to come in. Right. So, for example, this session that we're having today might as well. So today it's still in 2D, right? I mean, I can see both of you, and I'm sure the others can see us in a 2D format. But it would look as if we are sitting across the table, and that's the kind of thing which is coming in. So it's a ever evolving field. I would say it has helped us immensely. Yes, the in-person contact, I'll again repeat, or the physical contact should also be there along with that. But the way it has also helped us is that, in far-flung areas where it may not be possible to reach out to people so very easily, today with the help of technology, you can reach out, service the customer, acquire the customer, service the customer, in the shortest possible time in a very effective fashion. Even from an employee perspective, interestingly, I want to state this: we have an employee satisfaction survey that we keep conducting every once in 2 years, right? These scores have gone up. Why? Because the kind of connect that has been established now. Today I can be talking to a person sitting in Jorhat, and I can be talking to a person sitting in Trivandrum in a gap of just half an hour, and it will be a one-on-one kind of a discussion. Now that has been enabled by technology, which probably earlier I had to plan a trip and go there, and maybe I would have covered the country in a very long period of time. Which has also brought in that connect, and which is why people are also feeling a little better in terms of, and more engaged in terms of working with the organization. Yeah. Over to you, Isha.
Yes, sir. I totally agree with you. Now I would like to say, Ashwin sir, if you can also add something to this.
Sure, Vijay. So I'd like to break it into two segments for the organization that we are very closely working on. First, we'll start with the technology aspect of things. In a banking, the core banking systems are very key functionalities in the organization, and most of our core systems, right, are legacy systems which are not updated as per the services that are currently offered in the market with terms of API systems and the integrations that are available with third parties that we can outsource and minimize our operational risks and services. So those systems is something that as a entity we are trying to work towards. And earlier we used to have a lot of on-prem solutions and on-prem servers, and we are trying to minimize that in form of technology and move towards the cloud engagement itself, where Azure and AWS are assisting us with it. And I believe in next 24 months we will be completely on cloud, and the services that our fellow peers in fintech industries are offering will be very much seamless in integrating them as well. So that is one angle that as an entity we are growing towards. The second has been with regards to the credit processes. So the how the banking industry functions is that if we are keeping your money secure, we are also lending to the market, and that's how the business flow and the revenue system generates. And for that, it's very important to have two aspects very strong in the banking ecosystem. One is your credit underwriting, so that we don't give it to somebody who is gonna be delinquent. And second, we can predict before the customer becomes delinquent in the ecosystem, so that we can take necessary risks and reach out to the users accordingly. So we are working in process with the third party people in creating a technology for making a scorecard underwriting process, and that is in way, and we'll be live with it by the end of the year as we speak. And also in terms of collection scorecard, we are pretty much on the POC side, where we are working with relevant team members to make sure that these multiple scorecard triggers the risks that we are foreseeing in next quarter or half yearly model. So these are the systems that as a technology framework, as an entity that we are working towards. And of course, onboarding of customers is a very critical aspect too, as Mr. Mathu suggested, that the onboarding, if it's seamless, I think the customer is frictionless and happily onboarded. That is the best thing that you can have as an entity, because the first step towards the organization itself shows what kind of entity he's getting involved with and what kind of relation that you will build with the customers. So we are trying to make a better version of our application as well, so that the application gives an 360-degree overview of consumers overall diaphragm of assets, liabilities, and also the portfolio that he is holding. That gives him the everything 360-degree banking in his fingertips. So that is one of the things that we are working towards. And as UPI transactions are increasing, and Yes Bank has been playing a critical role in providing the service to players like PhonePe and Paytm, we have a large data set of UPI transactional data against our customers. So we are working towards AI and machine learning functionalities. How can we utilize it in a better way and give certain cross-sell products without hassle-free friction for our customers, so that they don't have to give any documentation, and a pre-approved cross-sell product can be available for them. Now coming towards innovation side of things, these were static technology that we closely work and benchmark ourselves with the industry. In innovation, I see that there has been a lot of great products coming in the market, and we are on our way to onboard them as well. Something interesting in last 1 year that has popped up is a product called Buy Now, Pay Later. I think every one of us is shopping online in e-commerce website, and everyone sees that option over there, either simple or free quick. Some or other brands are offering just go ahead and purchase your favorite phone, favorite devices, and do your complete shopping, and you don't need to pay anything right now. You have a limit set for you. So I'm not sure if it's great for our young generation to get into this credit trap yet, but I think that's a great functionality, isn't it? If you use it wisely and repay on time, I think everything you want and the credit functionality is on your fingertips. What else would you need? So that is one of the innovations that I see has come to the BFSI, and which we have been partnered to as well. The second has been the services, right? If you are a bank account holder, the best thing, what do you want? I mean, as a traditionally in the bucket, because millennials usually see their bank statements online itself, they don't go to the banks, as per my research. And either senior citizens or people above 45 age group, or people who have high transactions, high value transactions happening, they would like to go to the branches and remove their detailed statements. But what if we can serve them in the fingertips? Till 2 years back, I think people had to go either to the website or give a letter stating that they need a detailed document. And now with a click of a button, you can get a PDF statement delivered in your email box. So I think the servicing has pretty much improved in overall banking and financial industry, which is great. And also UPI payment like Pay 123. I am not sure if you guys are aware of it, but UPI is pretty much clear. You need an internet connection, right, to make all the UPI transactions. That's how the UPI QR code and scanning functionality works. But Pay 123 has dynamically changed the entire ball game. Even if you don't have a digital phone, there is a certain set of digit toll-free number that you can call. You can confirm yourself by selecting one that it's you, put in the number, the amount that you want to transfer, and send the pound, hit the pound key, and automatically the payment is going to get transacted. So I think it's incredible the way that we are finding use cases to make the lives of our consumers better, and also helping people to transact in much better and efficient way. And in the last, I would just like to say that account aggregator has been immensely an innovative subject. Uh, I would like to throw some light over it, which is that there are 5 organizations, if I'm not wrong, 5 or 6, which have been licensed by RBI to become account aggregators. And tomorrow, if you, me, or any one of us would like to take a home loan, a personal loan, they don't have to submit any documents. You just have to go to an account aggregator platform, put in your details, create an account aggregator ID, and it will automatically ask your permission and link your respective bank accounts, your respective insurances, your respective ITR, and connect and create a portfolio and send it to your respective bank. And that's all it needs. It's a matter of 3 minutes. Your bank already has your information, and the easiest way to underwrite you as a customer and give you the best possible credit line. So I think these are the few innovative aspects that are happening in the banking industry. And I think as a nation, we are progressing way ahead than others. And I think as a bank and entity, I feel very proud to be a part of this ecosystem at this particular phase, because from the traditional paperwork, we are moving to digitization and revolutionarization. So it's a great time to be in the banking and finance industry. And I think here we are discussing about the same. So over to you, Vijay.
Yes, sir. If before our Q&A session, if Atul sir, you want to add something to this topic?
Yeah, sure. No, so I think Ashton, kind of covered it very well. So, for example, in our case, also what we're looking at is, pre-approved loans that are being provided to customers. So, let's say in insurance, pre-approved sum assured. Now that's a function of the fact that the technology being used on the process automation side, because in our case, also underwriting, plays a very important role. I mean, you have to underwrite the risk, and a lot of these things used to take very long in the good old days. But with the introduction of technology coming in, uh, a lot of these customer-centric products and facilities are available now. Also, we are moving more to the cloud technology, as Ashwin said earlier, right? Which again, on one side, makes the whole thing more effective, brings down the cost as well in the long run. When we look at it, instead of maintaining your own data centers and all. So in short, I would say that process automation is one part which has been majorly impacted, which has really helped us in terms of servicing our customers better or providing them with better and better products and services. Yeah, Bijan.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So, if any of our startup have any question, they can go ahead with it. Yes. Mukesh,
Vijay.
you can. Yeah, we can go ahead with your question. So, Mukesh, sir.
Yeah, hi. My name is Mukesh Mhatre, and I represent Newer Health Solutions Private Limited. We are a startup based out of Pune, and our core functionality is that we detect various health vitals of any individual just by looking at the mobile camera. So we have already signed up with multiple insurance companies, including some of the biggest ones. So I just wanted to know whether such kind of a technology, is of would find any applications or use cases in the banking industry as such. Uh, yes, that would be my question.
Sorry, Mukesh, I didn't get your the service that you are providing. So with the camera, I heard, but
Yes. So basically, what happens? Our solution, we provide an SDK for any insurance company that already has a mobile application. And what the customer has to do is he just has to look into the mobile camera, and his various health vitals, including blood pressure, blood glucose, cholesterol, heart rate, respiration rate, stress levels, are extracted by the camera itself without any external wearables or devices. So this solution has found many use cases in the insurance industry. So I would just like to know whether there would be any use cases in the banking industry, say in the case of where you are saying like credit underwriting or risk estimations of the customer.
so I get you, Mukesh, what you're trying to say, but it is a completely revolutionized product, if I'm not wrong, because if just looking at the camera, you can say the health condition of a person.
Yes.
I'm I'm not sure how strongly accurate is it, and if it is, then why aren't we using it more on a medical industry side? Because it will revolutionize the existing applications like Practo, where we are trying to reach to the doctors for
Yes.
certain issues. I believe this can be a very good use case for an application like Practo, where doctors can use it, where they are diagnosing the patients online. So I think that is a great site to explore. One, and second, um, only in banking point of view, if I have to think, I think if such kind of product exists, it would surely help us while we are reaching out to delinquent customers. So just to understand what are they going through and what is their expression saying. I'm not sure if it has such kind of use case, like if it can detect lie or not. If he says no, I don't have money in my bank account, can it say ki this guy is lying? So I think if such product is available, it would be helpful for banks. But apart from that, jokes aside, I think Practo is a very good use case that you can explore, as per me. And I think a video KYC that we are doing also has liveliness check. So I'm not sure if this is correlated to that pattern as well. So I think you can explore with certain video KYC partners like IDFI, Hyperverge, and SignZ in the industry, the kind of technology that they are using, and maybe your technology is superior than what they already have.
Yeah. So thank you for this, Ashwin, all your inputs. Our technology is based on artificial intelligence. So the accuracy levels of this solution is very high, actually, almost 95 to 98%. Why we are focusing on insurance industry right now? Because we do not have regulatory approvals from FDA and CE, which we have applied for, and we would be soon going in for that, and then we can extend this solution to the for the medical fraternity. Yes. Yes, Atul sir, would you like to add anything to this?
No, I think what you're saying, Mukesh, has a lot of application into the insurance sector, even the lending, side of the business also. It could have usage over there. But again, as you yourself mentioned that it's a very regulated industry, so it has to pass through those filters, right?
Yes.
And as Ashwin was saying that from accuracy point of view, so definitely, I mean, the health checkups are a norm in insurance, whether you're going in for health or for life insurance.
Yes.
So if this is something which can, and I don't know to what extent are you giving the parameters, and because there are different cases, and depending on the sum assured and the kind of policy that you're going in for, there are different kind of checks, mental tests which are prescribed. But I think at a rudimentary level, I think it would be a good point to start with. And if you're saying that you're already in touch with the insurance sector, I think that's good. Other one I can suggest is NBFC, where they're looking at lending. Maybe that's again one more place where you could look at exploring.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Atul sir.
Hope your question is clear. Now I
Yes.
would Yes, Sudhakalli sir, if you have any question, you can unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Atul sir. Good morning, Ashwinair. It was really a fantastic, session wherein you touched upon the evolution of technology till date, and of course, I mean, like what it could be going forward and all. I represent Wiser Goes. We are basically into building low-code applications for process automation and all. We have been extensively working in the insurance and the banking and financial services. That's primarily on the NBFC HFC front. We just started working with a couple of banks. However, one thing I would like to know from both of you is that where do you see low code, the applications built on low code, where do you see them in process automations in the coming years in the Indian banking industry? Because globally, when we see the industry is much evolved, it's like more than $18 billion kind of thing. But in India, it is just hardly $400 million kind of a thing, where the applications are lot of still, I mean, like applications needs to be shipped from the high code to the low code. And of course, to Ashwin Nair, I have one more question: is that how is, I mean, like to what extent Yes Bank is already started, I mean, like building, in which all use case scenarios they are using low code applications?
So I'll take your first question first, with regards to the low-code application in Indian banking industry. It is something new wave that has come in. I agree to that, and it is a fantastic thing to have in the technology space for bankers to explore in our technology division for sure. I remember there was time when I was evaluating few low-code platforms for Yes Bank, and there were many. I believe you have heard of Jokata as well, who's doing great in low-code platform. And I think the education of low-code platform and the use case and the utilities is still not clear to most of the people who are strategizing the overall banking framework, right? And the people who are aware of its use case need to understand that it's a very agile way of working in low code platforms. There is minimal coding and everything can be done by a layman as well who knows what he wants to achieve from the low code platform. So it is a great opportunity for banks to adopt by hiring digital product managers who can create their own product by using low code platforms. So I completely agree with you that it's a dynamic revolution to come in, and if we have that kind of an occupation, something called digital product managers, who basically look at business and create the fast technology. And you will agree with me, the turnaround time with low code platforms is much faster than the old school coding platforms. So I believe the learning curve has not yet come in the banking ecosystem, but I truly feel that over the years to come, we're gonna achieve that too faster. And also, banks are taking a lot of aspirations from what fintechs are doing. And I believe most of the fintechs are also involved in the low-code platform engagement where they need an overnight developing stack ready. And there are many fintech organizations who has great leaders in them, and banks are trying to bring them on board because there are certain tech capabilities.
On a mute, Ashwin.
Your
Ashwin sir, you're
your
muted.
voice is gone.
Sorry, and act as a solution architect for banks. So I believe this era is coming strongly in the banking sector, and I believe in next 2 years we'll see many banks using the low code platforms for several use cases, whether it be as small as adding a small tick mark in the existing process flows of algorithm, or whether it be full stack app division development itself. And answering to your second question with regards to if Yes Bank is working on it, we are still evaluating on the partners. As I said, we have not yet started with any projects on the low code platform, also because of the legacy systems and our infrastructure and servers, and because of the investment that we have made to the existing resources in place, and also with regards to the plan of action that we have already on our table for next 2 years, and which has been working from last 2 years. So we don't want to break the chain right now. And but for the projects that will be upcoming, I think our team is very closely working with the leadership to act as a catalyst to bring in such small innovations within the ecosystem and change the mindset of the stakeholders as well.
Okay, got it. Atul sir.
Yes. See, the only thing which I'll say is that, it requires a lot of education right now, right? Where people are not aware of it, frankly. I mean, all of us are looking at, agility and, quick turnarounds. And there's a lot of exploration going on in that area. But I frankly, for one, I do not find too much of communication happening in this area. I mean, it's a technology which definitely I feel, will have an exponential growth. Right. And I mean, the time frame that I'm looking at is probably something like, 2 to 3 years, or maybe even less than that. But the only thing is that, at least the key, besides the technology folks, I would say, the key decision makers and the people who are looking at, strategy of the organization, at least they need to be better educated. So I think a lot of my only recommendation is that if you can reach out in terms of more them understanding the benefits, because it is something which is very, very commonsensically the thing to go for, right? Because it kind of also reduces your dependence on a lot of other things, on a lot of other factors. So my only thing, and I'm again speaking not like a technologist, but more from a management and HR perspective, I think that awareness needs to be increased, but definitely it's going to have an exponential growth. That's what I strongly feel.
Okay. Thank you, Ashwin. Thank you, Atul sir.
Now, Manoj, sir, if you have any question, you can go ahead with it. You can unmute yourself and go ahead with it.
Hi, Ashwin. Hi, Atul. Very nice to see you here. I have a slightly different question. We were part of the GFF 22. I don't know, Ashwin, if I bumped into you or not, but most of the Yes Bank team did come and met us there. So my question to both of you is, the primary, onboarding processes, which are very basic ones, which are happening across the bank and BFCs and so on and so forth, right? And then there is a bit of digitization that is supplementing these processes. But in totality, when you talk about tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities, what are some of these problems that you foresee to onboard these customers onto your platforms? I mean, what are the challenges that you see to bring them on board? I mean, we've seen, if you ask me to do a video KYC, and let's just say I am in Dhulia and I need to connect to your system, I am on a 3G network. I'm on a 3G network and I'm not able to connect to your video KYC platform. So then how do you really solve some of these problems? I mean, I'm just throwing one example, but I'm looking at problem statements for Bharat and not for the metros. What are some of your thoughts on that?
I think to start with, if you talk about DIY journeys, right, where there is no assistance from any relationship manager or any bank assistance provided, it becomes difficult in tier 2 and tier 3 cities for the users to complete. They for sure start the journey for sure. A funnel starts with the great numbers, but it doesn't end up in the end of the funnel with the great numbers too. Now there are certain patterns that we have noticed. First, let me start with the key highlight that our states are so different from each other that every state has a different language. So multilingual is been a concern, and our applications support very limited languages. That is one. So we have to work towards it, that how can we address this issue more systematic and in a more fluent way. I think once we come across and successfully resolve this issue, the next step would be to create the information that is needed from the customer more minimalistic and keep the process as short as possible. Because as in the existing framework, onboarding is an exhaustive process. It takes a user from one page to another. It has a minimum or an average of 5 to 7 screens that he has to go through, and the data fields that are present over there manually needs to be entered. I think we have to work towards how can we make it more seamless for the user by just putting his Aadhaar or PAN details and auto-filling most of the details that is required. So that is the second, I think we can work towards getting it fixed. Third, obviously the network. We are very much dependent on the internet, and I would say the bifurcation is if anyone is getting onboarded, 20% is from web portals and 80% is from mobile applications in today's time. So network 3G, 4G, now even 5G coming into play, it would play a very critical role to have a great network around you, or at least Wi-Fi. And I believe Geo is doing a great work in connecting it to the rural areas as well. So hopefully, I believe as the infrastructure of the nation increases and gets better, I think we will be able to deliver much better products on and also have the better connectivity during onboarding processes. And final, I think the last would be to reduce the complexity. I know we have come up with great technology evolutions of video KYC or biometric, but in rural areas, as people are learning, I still believe we are trying to make it more complex for them. I think it should be. um I'm talking about completely tier 4 cities, right? Where people don't really understand what biometric is unless and until somebody comes to your doorstep and says कि सर यहाँ पे आपका थंब रखना है, आप यहाँ रखोगे तो आपका आधार और पैन कार्ड लिंक हो जाएगा. He doesn't understand anything, but he has to do it because someone has told him to. So I believe in such areas we need some education centers to be in place. I mean, rather than having individual bank centers, I think RBI should take up this opportunity to create, banking frontier centers where any problem you have, you just walk into that place. Because in tier 4 and 5, uh, people can't really take a portal and put their details and should show what issues they are facing. They need a person-to-person connection. So I believe these are the few things that I think should work out for us going forward.
Great.
I think Manoj, Ashwin has answered all the aspects of it. I would say that one, in terms of the particularly the network coverage which is there, and especially if you look at even areas like Northeast and all, it's very patchy, which is a real-time problem. Right. And in a lot of cases, it had to be also followed up with some kind of manual intervention as well, which is an issue right now. And I think the government is also working towards that. We have operators like Jio, Airtel, Vodafone Idea, who are getting into it. So that is something which I think would be there. But the other piece which I completely resonate with Ashwin is that how can we make the the whole process for the customer simple and less complicated, instead of asking for information that can be obtained from the already existing database, or whatever that we have. Of course, there are regulations, and therefore, which is why you have so much of documentation also. But I think that is also being eased out as we are uh, uh, moving forward. So I think it would be, and the third thing which I also strongly feel is that, yes, see, it's all about education. So today, for example, mobile phones are being used even in villages and very remote areas, and we don't have to teach people how to download a movie or how to watch something on the net. So to that extent, I think it has happened. But in terms of the basic awareness of like what he mentioned about biometric and all, I think there's a lot more which needs to be a government and an industry combined effort of kind of awareness. So for example, just like we have a lot of consumer awareness sessions in for, let's say, mutual funds, for insurance, we keep doing it. I think on this aspect also there's a very strong need for the industry and for the government to come together, join hands, and go ahead in terms of that awareness, which I think would really help, right? In terms of the network coverage, I would say, because I'm still on tenterhooks, my network could go off at any point of time. I think that is something which, yes, will take a little bit of time, but I hope it'll improve.
So I think there are two things that I can take away from it. I mean, if you really sort of like crystal clear it, the problem is about identity. I mean, the amount of documents that we collect from, we have two identities in form of Aadhaar card and PAN card. And, oftentimes somebody asks Aadhaar, somebody asks PAN card and things like that. And the second problem that we are personally facing, Ashwin, to be precise, on most of the banking relationship when tier 2, tier 4 cities, it's the quality of documents that comes along. That is the biggest problem that we've identified in dealing with this thing. And the auto rejection or the rejection rate is almost reaching to 40 to 50% in these cases. That increases the overheads on your operations side. So fortunately, Orbo, which is my startup, we deal into that space where AI basically takes care of those kind of nuances. It enhances those documents in real time, and it gives you a much clearer picture, despite of the fact that user could take a photo on his bed of his, PAN card, on putting on a bed or any surface. You don't have to deal with these kind of nuances on your end. Once the images have come, you have to reject it afterwards. So that increases the communication layer, from the banking end. So that is a unwanted cost, which most of the banks are taking it onto a balance sheet, which is what we wanted to reduce it and create a frictionless thing. We're also working on a sort of like a parallel identity management platform, which will go side by side of NPFC or NPCI and some of these people who are working on it. But to create an interoperable system for everything, you don't have to be relying on government to provide it to you. So that is, that is in works. So we will be reaching out to you at some point in time for this. But thank you for your thoughts. Thank you so much.
Great work, Manoj. Like I didn't know much about Orbo. I think I didn't bump into you guys during GFF event. I was more into watching the workshops, and as free time I got, I was trying to get as much as engagement with the teams present out there. But great work on this, and operationally, I think it will be a great thing for bank to have such kind of services on.
We already had a meeting with Ajay, Rajan, Jay, Joshi,
You
Naveen.
did?
Yeah, so happy to
Great.
connect with you as well.
I've already met the right people in the ecosystem.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, Atul sir.
Thank you. So now, Sheetal, if you have any question, you can go ahead with it.
You're on mute.
Sheetal, you are on mute.
Oh, sorry, sir. Yes. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Ashwinji. Good morning, Atulji. So I'm Sheetal Ram here, and I'm from a company called Clum 5, and we are into a real-time marketing automation platform. So my question to you here is, basically we see that the first-party data cookies, how important it is with in terms of banking, in terms of those companies who want to have their data secure. So what, according to you, you see the future of it? And yes, as you know, that that's the only future which we see forward. And since we provide our entire platform as digital software is based on the first party cookies. So I want to have your feedback on that.
So, Sheetal, you told me that your service that you're providing is the security of the data that we store of the consumers, isn't it?
No, basically we are a real-time marketing automation platform. Okay. So we are entire tracking system, the software based on which the platform has been structured. It's a first-party data cookies. So it is built on a first-party data cookies platform. So we track the website, we track the visitors who are coming on the website. We understand the behavior, and based on the behavior, the interaction, the system by its AI, artificial intelligence, it connects with the visitors, and based on that, the interaction starts, and we convert these visitors into a qualified leads.
Okay, so if I have to keep it in a simple way, in a layman's term, can I say that if you go to a pizza website, and if I check for say chicken pizza more often, you will come to know, and next time I come here, you will tell me this is your chicken pizza, right?
Yes,
okay,
we will know your behavior, right?
Got it. And then you basically track where I spend more amount of time in the website.
Yes.
Do I take a lot of time before I make the payment because I see that 1,000 rupees is too much for me, and then I come back and delete my extra cheesy toppings? Okay.
Bingo. Yes. And we also track the source from where you come. I mean, from which source did you land up? So, I can start my engagement in a very customized, personalized manner.
I think it's a fantastic thing to have for our analytics team, okay, to understand the consumer behavior and where the largest hot selling things are happening. Where is my consumer spending most amount of time? Where is the largest amount of drop-offs happening? And which is the section of the application or website where customers are not even going and very less amount of interactions are happening over there. So I think this is a great use case to have. We were working closely with Adobe Analytics. I think
Right. Yes.
they,
Yes.
yeah, they have similar functionality in event flagging, basically where the drop off happened, and
Yes.
overall schematics, and also app dynamics are few
Correct. The entire
similar.
event tracking. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
So
so it is really impressive the way we are tracking human behavior. I mean, it's like you want to exactly know what this person is going to do next and predict their next step forward. So it's great revolution, great thing to have, and I am a pro it. Like I'm like, of course, if you want to sell somebody something, I mean, you should know exactly what kind of his behavior patterns are, so that the next time when he comes, he doesn't have to look around for the same product. You give him the real time, boss, is this that you're looking at, or you want to try
exactly.
something new?
Right. So
So
basically, we make ensure that the entire experience on the website is very delightful when a
yeah,
visitor is coming, and a quick message, quick prompting can be done, and quick we can educate them online. So this is what you're looking for, and this is what you have it at present. So why don't grab it? So that's the objective. So in the banking sector, yes, we also work with a few banking AMC companies. So Anna, I would like to know like how you see this future ahead in terms of the importance of the first party data cookies. So we don't depend on Google for any analytics. So we have our own analytical system mechanism. So that's what I wanted to know from you. According to you, what you think about it?
I think it's fantastic what you're doing, and I think this technology is gonna go way ahead. It won't be limited to any specific industry, any customer facing platform, right? Any customer facing platform will need this kind of utility to understand the consumer behavior. So I'm just saying that even though you think there is not much traction happening, but there is lot of technology firms that are looking out for such solutions. And at the end of the day, it's all about accuracy and the pricing that you want to structure with them. And that's going to make a great deal out of it. So I wish you all the best for it. And I think there is a great potential on this product. And just look out for the right partnerships and right placements where you want to place your product. Because there is no way that this is going to be limited to a specific sector, to banking, or to
Right.
specifically to insurance, or
Correct.
specifically to e-commerce websites. It has multiple use cases. You never know, it can be used in hospital industry, hotelier industry, in tourism and travel industry.
Yes,
In
we are presently working with many verticals,
correct.
starting from real estate, banking, hospitality industries, education, universities. So all the wing is already spread. We're just looking forward for more space. Sky is the limit, but
Of course,
yes.
of course. All the best, Sheetal.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
I think
Anything
that's a good
Atulji
thing.
wants to add?
Yeah. Only thing, it's completely divergent. I think what you're saying is definitely, the need of the hour. My only recommendation is, and it might sound a little wacky at this point of time, but just think about it a little later. From my employee capability building point of view, also, for example, we use a lot of, portals and applications and all, right? Why don't you, start looking at it from that perspective also? For example, currently we were looking at an open source piece where we could throw up things which people are more interested in terms of building their capability, right? So
Right.
I'm just saying that what you're looking at from a customer point of view, and definitely it is a bright future. I'm just giving a divergent thought. Why don't you also look at it from
Sure.
an employee perspective also? You might get a good market there, which is not so much tapped as of now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Atulji. We'll surely take it forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Shashidharan, if you have any question, you can unmute yourself and go ahead with it.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the session. So, Mr. Ashwin was mentioning about the multilingual issue faced in the onboarding or the outreach process, right? So, I would like to understand what are the steps has been taken regarding to the conversational AI or chatbot in reaching out to these customers and solving these issues, and what is the reality happening already? I mean, with regarding to the accuracy of the conversational AI or how we handle the noisy environments. Okay, if we add some points on that.
Sure, Sashidharan, right? Perfect. So, Sashi, we are working towards it. We are in the stage of POC right now. We are trying to evaluate few candidates and with terms of few vendor partners as well. There are many great partnerships out there who is delivering such products in the market. For example, Hobble AI, Juby.ai. They have been a great platforms with terms of how can you have a multilingual services on board. The only problem that we are having is with currently in our certain POCs as well, that the languages are still limited and it needs certain back data products, right? We have certain set of data set and content which is in place, and to transform everything from one language to another, and the meaning of it slightly differs in every language. So whereas AI is doing a great job in transforming from the language to language, but it still needs a human verification to happen at least once in banks, because we are not that tech savvy and we can't depend on technology taking care of all the terms and conditions to be a taken care accurately, because it's not a uh, widespread and explode ecosystem. And when we
Mm-hmm.
understood that the legacy data and the contents that we have is in a one particular language, and if we want to transform it, it's taking some time. But as we are doing it on a POC way, I think over a period of an year we should be there, where we are trying to
Okay.
achieve where all the languages are inbuilt in our website and our application as well. I think it's a growing phase for us. So I would say ki we are learning, we are retweeting ourselves, we are taking one step at a time. But I think you should see this transformation coming to light in a year's time, because we don't want to be the first one to come to the market. We just want to be the perfect one to be there in, and
Okay.
not have any bad experience or unwanted attraction from RBI for not keeping the guidelines in a particular way. So we are taking our own pace and doing it in a perfect way as possible.
I'm sorry to
Okay.
interrupt, but Adit sir has another meeting. So I would like to take a moment and thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. I really wanted to continue, but I have another engagement coming up. So,
Yes.
right, it's been nice interacting with you, and thank you, everyone. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Very
all.
Matra. Thank you,
much.
Vijay, for hosting us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you all.
Ashwin sir, for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Before we end the event, I would like to take a moment and thank everyone for coming today for this event. I'm really grateful to each one.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks a lot.
क्या करना है, कैसे